Hello and welcome to Professor Herman Manyora's channel. My name is Jadil Kabiru. I'm here with Professor Herman Manyora. Let me first thank you for your subscriptions. If you haven't yet, go ahead and do that. Click the ring bell right there so that you can get informed once new videos come out. Today, we talk about a drift that has been drafted by Elgeyo Senator Kipchumba Murkomen that seeks to amend Section 22 of the Elections Act, which requires any member of parliament or MCA that wants to get that position to have an academic degree. Professor, my thoughts are, should degrees become compulsory for MCAs and MPs?
I think it depends on a number of factors. On the face of it, yes, you need. Look at the work of an MCA, which is legislation, oversight, and representation. The same. Members of parliament, they represent their constituents, they oversight government, they make laws to allow government to raise revenue, and they oversight the same, and they make laws. You cannot do that without education. So, in the face of it, yes. But there are a number of reasons why, not in the way people are putting it in this country.
So the senator is recommending that at least you need to know some English and Swahili, and at least for the deaf people, you can be able to read the brailles or whatever. Do you think he's right?
Kipchumba has a point, except he's doing it for political reasons. He doesn't believe in it.
What do you mean?
He's just doing it because Ruto has said he wants to save those without degrees. So this is populist. It's not because he believes in it. But again, if he believes in it, he need not be apologetic. Because out of the 45 US presidents, 45 or 44, I don't know how many now, 9 never had a degree, from George Washington to Truman, in between the famous Abraham Lincoln. You know great billionaires, Bill Gates, the late Steve, Jobs, and
Steve Jobs.
All these guys of Zuckerberg, how would you pronounce that? Of this man of Facebook. All these people with billions of, not shillings, but of dollars. They have made all this money and they don't have the man of Virgin Atlantic. They billionaires, dollar billionaire, not Kenya shilling billionaire. You can't make money without a brain. They never went to college. So Murkomen did not be apologetic and populist. Throughout history, men without college education, without training, have come up with even scientific discoveries. Even we talk about vaccination of corona now. Where did vaccination begin? There were slaves in America who brought that idea and said, when we were back home, people were getting something from people with smallpox and putting it in those who are not infected. So, you know, it is, but we live in a modern world. And you cannot be fully operational at a very formal level like parliament or so without formal education, except if MPs were doing what is stated in the law, then you need a degree. You cannot legislate without education, can you? You can't make laws without education. You can't interrogate the bills. You cannot oversight government. You cannot help government raise revenue. You cannot represent people without education. But is that what MPs do? MPs go to funerals. You don't need a degree to go to funerals. MPs work with CVs, looking for people's jobs, looking for jobs for people. You don't need a degree to work with CVs in your briefcase. We have refused to organize labor in this country and employment so that you don't need to know anybody. Every Kenyan should have a right to employment. Now MPs are peddling influence. You don't need education for that. MPs do fundraisings. Harambe, they have become fundraisers. You don't need to go to school to do fundraising. They move around with checks every weekend distributing CDF checks. Do you need a degree to distribute CDF checks? What MPs do now, you don't need a degree. Look here, my friend, like budget. MPs don't make budget. Budget is made by the executive. It is supposed to be Congress that deals with it. When you bring budget proposals to Congress in America, your work stops there. They look at it with a toothpick and tell you shall not approve this. Our parliament cannot change the budget proposals even by 10 billion from 3.6 trillion. They can't.
Is this what is happening right now? And that's why you're saying, hey, let's let them just work.
Yeah, the MPs don't do anything that requires education. So let them stop bothering people about education, because what they do does not require education.
Let me ask you though, do you think the power should be with the Mwananchi to decide whether I'll vote for someone with education or not?
That is also true, but the truth is, and contrary to what many people would want to think, the people must be guided. That's why they are leaders. Leaders should guide people throughout history. Even the Jews, all societies had leaders to guide people. People must be guided. But you see, our MPs can't guide anybody. They are as illiterate as they come, whether they have degrees or not. The things they do are not the things an MP is supposed to do. For that reason, nobody requires a degree to be an MP.
So you're saying if they will do what they're supposed to do.
You need education.
But what about if you have a degree that is not aligned
Yes,
with
yes,
the
yes.
work of a legislator? Let's say you've done fashion.
Yes.
And you're going to Parliament to perform the work of a legislator. How does it align with making laws?
You see, somebody has done a diploma in legal education. Yeah. He doesn't qualify. You have done a degree in fashion or cookery. So you see, again, even the kind of degrees, then you would be saying what degree should be relevant for education. Although a degree gives you a general knowledge, general understanding of the world. So it doesn't really matter. But that brings me to the more important question is, do we even have education in this country? Do these degrees even matter anyway? We don't have an education that can produce a degree. That's the education we have, unfortunately. An education system is supposed to produce thinkers, so that a degree holder can think, can be analytical, can see things in a way somebody who didn't go to school can't see. But our education is just giving people certificates. So why would we stop somebody to be an MP because he doesn't have a paper? Because these are just papers.
I'm thinking about the requirement for someone to vie for MC or MP. The minimum age is 18 years.
Yes.
With the recommendation that you need a degree to work, that means you'll have to have about 4 more years, 18 plus 2, 22. To get a degree, let's say in some universities, it takes up to 10 years for some people.
Let's just say 4.
Does this mean that the age limit has to change?
Which means you are affecting the right to vie so long as you are 18. Now that right is already is compromised. Yeah. So things like those. But there are a lot more. And the more important thing is we don't have an education system that can convince me that if somebody has an education is better than one who doesn't have. The education system we have cannot produce anybody serious. Secondly, the things MPs do. We have turned MPs into managers of constituencies in terms of money. They don't know what legislation is. They don't do that. So if you ask me, what is the solution?
The recommendations.
The solution, there are 1, 2, 3. One is, first of all, Kenyans in general. We have long-term, short-term, immediate, and long-term. Yeah. In the what we can do now, as a way out of this, that amendment of Murkomen should not pass. The amendment we need is to say you need a degree, as it is. But that amendment should exempt, 1, anybody who has been an MP. 2, anybody who is currently serving an MP. If you are an MP today, or you have ever been an MP, this law should exempt you. That is the short term, immediate. That amendment should say, so long as you have been in Parliament, or so long as you are in Parliament now, that requirement of a degree, so that it only affects those who are outside. As they have been planning, because they have been planning to go to Parliament. Okay? Part of the planning would include making sure you have a degree. So let's exempt those who are already MPs. But long term, there are 2 things. Number 1, let us look at our education system. And Parliament should help. We are not giving children education in this country. Now this CBC thing, this is rubbish. Nobody is educated in this country. Yeah. I have a problem even interacting with people with very serious education. I look at them and I wonder, what kind of education is this person saying? They don't have.
What would you like to see in our education?
I want an education that produces thinkers, critical thinkers. So that when you talk to somebody who has been to university, they are different. Are we getting together?
Yeah.
And the next thing we need to do is to ensure tunatoa mambo ya pesa kwa parliament. Let's just pay MPs 200,000 and that's all. No sitting allowance, no nothing else. That way, only serious people will go to parliament. No. And doesn't move it to come a CDF. They should not handle money. An MP should just do legislation, representation, and oversight. And with a salary of 200,000 peke yake, hakuna allowance ingine. All these jokers will not go to parliament. Then only educated people will go to parliament.
Should there though be a training for these guys? Instead of having the degrees, you have some training for everyone that wants to vie, so that when you go into parliament together, you at least have some knowledge of what you're going to do and the constitution itself.
Yeah, there's orientation they are given, but there should be more hands-on training. So you find your way in parliament. So you understand committees, how they work. So you understand how to make use of research assistants. So that you understand legislation. So that you know about bills, about lawmaking processes. There should be some kind of a 3-month training for MPs.
Can that replace the degrees?
Ideally, no. But in our situation, yes. It can come in handy.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's it for today. I guess we'll be continuing to have these conversations on legislation and how the country runs. Until we meet again, thank you so much. I'm Gerald Kabir here with Professor Herman Manyora.
Thank you very much.